Fired on a Friday for fitissues. Monday morning, I had the keys. They thought firing me would solve their problems. Instead, it created mine, and I was about to become their worst nightmare. Friday, 4:47 p.m. I was called into the conference room. The CEO sat across from me with HR and her smug VP, the same person I'd trained 6 months earlier. We're letting you go. Culture fit issues. Clean out your desk. Security will escort you. No explanation. No warning. 6 years of my life vanished in 90 seconds. My badge was deactivated before I even stood up. I was walked out like a criminal while my team watched in shock. The CEO didn't even look at me. That's when I saw it in her eyes. She planned this. This wasn't sudden. This was calculated. As I was escorted through the lobby, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. We need to talk. Tonight. MR. My contact at our biggest client. Let me take you back to show you who I really was. 6 years ago, I was employee number 23 at this startup tech consulting firm. The founders were brilliant engineers, but terrible at business. I was hired as a junior project manager. Within a year, I was running our 3 biggest accounts. Within 2 years, I'd landed as contracts worth $8 million annually. I trained every new hire. I created our entire project management system. I worked weekends, missed birthdays, canceled vacations. I was the institutional knowledge. Without me documenting everything and teaching everyone, this company would have stayed a 10-person operation. Instead, we grew to 85 employees. But then, 8 months ago, everything changed when the founders stepped back. They brought in experienced leadership, a hotshot CEO named Patricia. She arrived like a corporate tornado with designer suits, buzzwords, and TED Talk energy. First company meeting. We're disrupting the disruption. Synergizing our core competencies. I remembered catching my mentor's eye across the room. He was on the board, and he looked uneasy. Patricia immediately brought in her strategic advisors, 3 people from her last company. Within a month, they had fancy titles. My colleague who built our tech stack suddenly reported to Patricia's former CTO, who didn't know our systems. Red flags were everywhere. But I stayed loyal. I thought she'd recognize my value. I thought wrong. Week 4 of Patricia's reign, she pulled me aside after a client meeting where I'd just saved a $2 million contract. You have a strong personality. Let's work on making you more collaborative. Over the next months, I watched Patricia execute a pattern. First, she'd isolate someone, exclude them from meetings, question their decisions publicly. Then she'd redistribute their responsibilities to her people. Finally, she'd document performance concerns. 3 senior employees were gone in 6 months. Each time, she called it cultural evolution. I watched good people get escorted out. I started keeping notes. Every project I led that succeeded, Patricia announced to the board with her team taking credit. Every minor problem suddenly became my fault in writing. She was building a case against me while stealing my work. 2 months before my firing, I found out Patricia had asked my biggest client contact, Marcus, if they'd considered other account managers because continuity is important. She was testing if they'd stay without me. What Patricia didn't know, Marcus's company had been trying to recruit me for a year. Not for account management, for a director position on their internal strategy team. Marcus had become more than a client. Over 3 years of weekly calls and successful projects, we'd built genuine respect. He'd been casually mentioning, when you're ready for your next move, for months. I'd always said I was loyal to my company. But after Patricia's comment to him, Marcus made it official. She's trying to replace you. We want you on our side. Think about it. I told him I'd stay loyal. That was my mistake. The week before my firing, Marcus called urgently. I shouldn't tell you this, but Patricia pitched our CEO on transitioning your account to fresh perspectives. She's making moves. That last week, I worked on the biggest proposal of my career, a $5 million expansion with Marcus's company. I poured everything into it. I stayed until midnight, 3 nights straight. The proposal was perfect. I submitted it Thursday. Friday morning, Patricia scheduled an urgent partnership alignment meeting for 4:45 p.m. I thought we were discussing the proposal. Instead, I walked into my execution. The proposal I'd written? Patricia had already presented it to the board that morning as the new team's work. My name wasn't on it. I was being erased before I was even gone. Now I sat in my car in the parking lot, badge deactivated, box of desk items beside me, staring at Marcus's text. We need to talk. Tonight. If you're enjoying this story so far, please take a moment to like this story and also hit the subscribe button to get notified of our new series. I met Marcus at a quiet restaurant. He was furious. She called our CEO today, told him you were no longer with the firm, and introduced her VP as the new lead. She thought we'd just accept it. He slid a folder across the table.
We don't want them.
We want you, Director of Client Strategy. 40% raise. You'd be vendor side, meaning you'd eventually help us choose which consulting firms we work with. The implications hit me like lightning. I'd go from fired to having power over my old company. I need you to start Monday, Marcus said. We're pulling our contract with them in 30 days unless things change. I want you in position before that conversation happens. I asked the burning question. Does Patricia know you're offering me this? Marcus smiled coldly. Not yet. Monday, 8 a.m. I walked into my new office, corner view, my name already on the door. By 9 a.m., I was in executive meetings. By 10 a.m., Patricia got the news. Their biggest client had hired me. I was told she went white. Emergency partner meeting called. Marcus, playing it perfectly, sent a formal email. Congratulations to Alex on her new role. Looking forward to continued partnership discussions. It was professional. It was devastating. The subtext was clear. I was now the gatekeeper to 40% of their revenue. And I'd been there 72 hours since she fired me. That afternoon, my former teammate still at the firm texted me. Patricia is losing it. She's blaming everyone. What did you do? I smiled at my phone. I hadn't done anything yet. Over the next 2 weeks, I wasn't actively sabotaging anything. I didn't have to. I was learning my new role, building relationships, staying professional. But I was watching. My former teammates kept me updated because they were scared and looking for exits. The VP Patricia put on the account? Completely incompetent. He missed deadlines and didn't understand our industry. First client meeting without me. Disaster. The project I'd set up for months? Falling apart because Patricia's people didn't know the technical requirements I'd documented. Marcus scheduled our review meeting with Patricia for 2 weeks out. The clock was ticking. Wednesday of week 2, another former colleague texted, 3 more people quit today. Everyone knows something's wrong. Are you hiring? The exodus was beginning. I forwarded the message to HR. Here's what Patricia didn't understand. I wasn't just a project manager. I was the living database. 6 years of client preferences, technical specifications, relationship nuances, industry contacts. Sure, I documented processes, but the real knowledge? The why behind decisions, the unwritten rules, the trust built over years, that lived in my head. Week 3 at my new job, I was asked to evaluate our vendor relationships. Which consulting firms actually deliver value? I was honest, professional, detailed. My old firm? Historically excellent, recent performance concerns, recommend evaluation period. It wasn't sabotage. It was the truth. That same day, I heard Patricia's team completely botched a presentation to another major client, one I'd managed for 4 years. The client called Marcus asking if something happened over there. Week 4. 2 more senior people quit my old firm, including the lead developer who built their proprietary project tracking system. He called me. She's impossible. She blames everyone, takes credit for everything, and has no idea what we actually do. Are there openings on your team? I referred him to our HR. Marcus was building a team, and he was cherry-picking the competent people Patricia overlooked. It wasn't poaching because they were reaching out to us. But the optics? My old firm was hemorrhaging talent to the client I took with me. The Whisper network was alive. Everyone knew Patricia was the problem. Friday afternoon, I got an email from Patricia herself. I'd like to schedule a call to discuss partnership continuity and transition best practices. She was trying to sound professional, but I could read between the lines. She was panicking. I took the call. Patricia's voice was tight, controlled. I want to ensure we're aligned on the partnership transition. Your departure was unexpected for clients, I'm sure. She was rewriting history already. I stayed ice-cold professional. Marcus's team seems comfortable with current arrangements. Was there something specific you needed? Long pause. I'd love to schedule lunch.
Clear the air.
Discuss how we can work together in your new capacity. She was trying to manage me now that I had power. I almost laughed. I'll check my calendar and have my assistant reach out. I didn't have an assistant yet, but she didn't know that. After I hung up, Marcus stopped by my office. Board meeting is in 1 week. We're presenting our vendor evaluation. Your old firm is on the list for performance review. Just so you're prepared. That weekend, I got a call from James, my mentor, the board member, who'd been there since the beginning. We need to talk off the record. We met for coffee. He looked exhausted. Patricia is making claims about your departure. Says you poached clients and violated non-competes. She's trying to build a legal case. My blood ran cold. But James continued, I've reviewed your exit paperwork. You're clean. No non-compete clause for clients who recruit you. She's grasping. Then he said something that changed everything. The board is asking questions. 3 board members have received calls from former employees. We're watching her. James leaned in. There's something else. We've discovered some financial irregularities in how she's been reporting the contracts her team won. Your contracts. She's been inflating numbers and taking bonuses based on your work. Week 6. The presentation to Marcus's executive team. Patricia attended with her VP, trying to look confident. I was there representing our company's interests. The VP presented their strategic roadmap. It was buzzwords and recycled ideas. Then Marcus asked a technical question about integration requirements. The VP fumbled. Patricia jumped in with jargon that didn't answer the question. I watched from across the table, silent. Finally, Marcus's CTO asked me directly, based on your experience with both sides, what's your professional assessment? I was honest, diplomatic. The historical relationship was built on detailed technical knowledge and consistent delivery. Recent transitions have created gaps that need addressing. It was devastating because it was true. After the meeting, Marcus told me privately, we're issuing a 60-day performance improvement requirement. If they can't deliver to previous standards, we're rebidding the contract. The news hit Patricia's firm like a bomb. Their biggest client was essentially threatening to leave. Emergency all-hands meeting. Former colleagues reported back. Patricia blamed poisoned relationships and unprofessional conduct from former employees. She was making me the villain. But it didn't stick. Everyone knew the work quality dropped when she pushed me out. 2 more people resigned that week, including my former work best friend who texted me, I can't watch this anymore. She's destroying everything we built. I'm out. The talent drain accelerated. They were down to 68 employees from 85 3 months ago. Then the second shoe dropped. Another major client, one I hadn't worked with directly, put their contract under review, citing delivery concerns and staff turnover. Patricia's problems were multiplying beyond just my account. The house was burning down. Week 8. Patricia called me again. This time, the polish was gone. I think we got off on the wrong foot. I'd like to discuss bringing you back as a consultant, help with the transition, knowledge transfer. I almost couldn't believe it. The woman who fired me for culture fit wanted me to save her. I appreciate the offer, but I'm fully committed to my current role. Silence. Then, what would it take? Name your price for a consulting engagement. She was desperate enough to pay me to fix the disaster she created. I stayed firm. I don't think that would be appropriate given the circumstances. Best of luck. That night, James texted me. Board meeting tomorrow. Patricia doesn't know yet, but she's being formally reviewed. The financial audit I mentioned found more problems. Stand by. If you're loving how this revenge unfolds, don't forget to subscribe for more incredible true stories like this one. The audit revealed what James suspected. Patricia had been taking credit and performance bonuses for projects I'd led, inflating their value to the board while hiding client satisfaction scores that had plummeted under her leadership. She'd essentially been cooking the books on her own performance. But more damning, she'd spent $400,000 on consulting fees paid to firms owned by her former colleagues. It wasn't illegal, but it was ethically murky and never properly disclosed. The board was furious. They'd brought her in to grow the company. Instead, she'd been enriching herself while the actual talent fled. James told me, emergency board session scheduled. Patricia's being put on administrative leave, pending full investigation. They're asking me who could step in as interim CEO. I need to ask someone if they'd even consider coming back. James asked me directly, would you come back as interim CEO? 6-month contract. Full authority to stabilize operations. The board wants someone who knows the company, has client trust, and can stop the bleeding. I was speechless. 2 months ago, I was fired and escorted out. Now they wanted me to run the place? My first instinct was to say no. Why would I save the company that threw me away? But James explained, there are 65 good people still there who did nothing wrong. Patricia destroyed morale, but the foundation you built is still there. You could save it. I told James the first needed 48 hours to think about it. That night, I couldn't sleep. Part of me wanted to watch it burn. But another part, the part that spent 6 years building something I was proud of, couldn't let good people suffer. I called James back. I'll consider it, but I have conditions. I wasn't coming back as a savior. I was coming back with power. My terms, interim CEO title, full board authority, guaranteed seat on the board after the interim period regardless of whether I stayed as CEO, complete autonomy on staffing decisions, and a formal investigation into my wrongful termination with findings made public to staff. And one more thing. I want to be in the room when Patricia is informed. James was quiet then. Done. All of it. Board votes tomorrow, but I'm confident. Can you start Monday? Sunday night, I got the official offer letter. Monday morning, I'd walk back into the building that escorted me out 10 weeks ago. But this time, I'd have the keys to everything. The keys Patricia thought she'd stolen from me. Monday, 7 a.m. I walked through the same lobby where I was humiliated. The security guard recognized me, looked confused. Morning, Tom. I'm back. The receptionist's jaw dropped. By 8 a.m., I was in the executive suite, Patricia's former office. HR was preparing the announcement. At 9 a.m., all hands video call. James introduced me. Effective immediately, Alex is returning as interim CEO. Patricia is no longer with the company. The chat exploded. Former colleagues were crying on camera. Within an hour, I had 30+ messages. Thank God. I can't believe it. You came back. One message gutted me. You just saved my job. Thank you. At 10 a.m., Patricia called my cell phone. I stared at the screen, debating. Finally, I answered. Her voice was shaking. How dare you? Patricia was unhinged. You sabotaged me. You turned Marcus against us. You stole my employees. I'll sue you for tortious interference. I cut her off ice cold. I was fired for a culture fit, remember? I moved on to a better opportunity. You destroyed your own company through incompetence and greed. The board found financial irregularities, Patricia. That's why you're out. Silence. Then, quieter. I made a mistake. I see that now. But you don't understand the pressure I was under. Stop. You had a company full of talented, loyal people. You could have led them. Instead, you replaced them with cronies and took credit for their work. I'm not interested in your excuses. Before hanging up, I said, the board is considering whether to pursue financial claims against you. If I were you, I'd get a lawyer. The line went dead. Then James called. Patricia's threatening a discrimination lawsuit. Patricia's lawyer sent a letter threatening a public lawsuit claiming she was terminated due to age discrimination. She was 48, and that the board created a hostile work environment by allowing younger employees to undermine her authority. It was absurd. She was only 16 years older than me, and she was fired for financial misconduct. But it could create terrible PR, emergency board meeting. The lawyers were worried. Then I remembered I documented everything. Every meeting, every email, every project she stole credit for. I have receipts, I told the board. All of it. Timestamped documentation of her taking credit for my work, her comments, her pattern with other employees. This isn't age discrimination, it's accountability. We called her bluff. Our lawyers responded with a detailed timeline and documentation showing cause for termination. We also included records of the 3 employees in their 50s she fired. Patricia's lawyer went silent. Patricia went nuclear. She posted a LinkedIn rant, now deleted, but screenshots were everywhere. Betrayed by corporate politics and cutthroat ambition. Built a company only to be destroyed by vindictive former employees who couldn't handle real leadership. The truth will come out. It was vague enough to avoid legal action, but clear enough that industry insiders knew she was talking about me. My phone exploded. Former colleagues, clients, industry contacts. Everyone was asking what happened. I was furious. She was trying to poison my reputation. Then something unexpected happened. People started defending me. Public LinkedIn posts from former employees. I worked under both leaders. One built us up. One tore us down. You decide. Marcus's company posted, "We stand by our hiring decisions and partnerships built on integrity." The narrative flipped. Patricia became the cautionary tale. 3 days later, I got a LinkedIn message. I worked under Patricia at her previous company. She did the same thing there. 4 months into my interim CEO role, we'd stabilized. I hired back 2 of the people Patricia pushed out. We'd landed 2 new clients. The team that stayed was energized. They had leadership they trusted again. Marcus's company renewed their contract and expanded it by 20%. The board approached me. "We want you permanently." Not interim, full CEO. Equity package, board seat, the works. It was everything I could want. But I'd realized something. I loved my job with Marcus's company. I loved being on the client side. The leadership role taught me I didn't want to run a consulting firm. I wanted to be where I could make strategic decisions without the chaos. I told the board I'd help them find the right CEO, but it wasn't me. I recommended my former colleague, the senior developer who left, who'd proven himself as a leader. The board agreed. My final act as CEO, I wrote a company-wide memo about what happened, taking full ownership of the lessons learned, and announcing the transition. It was closure. Then, my last day, I found an envelope on my desk. It was from Patricia. The letter was handwritten. "You won. I know that. I let ambition and insecurity drive me to destroy something good. I convinced myself you were a threat because you were everything I wasn't, naturally respected, genuinely skilled, actually liked. I tried to erase you to make room for myself. Instead, I erased myself. I'm in therapy now. I'm working on being better. I don't expect forgiveness. I just wanted you to know, you deserved everything you got. I deserved what I got. I'm sorry." I read it twice. It wasn't enough to undo the damage, but it was something. Accountability. Growth. Maybe. 6 months later, I was thriving in my director role. The consulting firm was stable under new leadership. I ran into Patricia at an industry conference. We made eye contact across the room. She nodded slightly, acknowledgement, not friendliness. I nodded back. We didn't speak. We didn't need to. I won, but not because I destroyed her. I won because I built something real, and when it was taken from me, I built something new. She lost because she tried to succeed by tearing others down. The best revenge wasn't ruining her, it was succeeding without needing to. I walked away, phone buzzing with a message from my team. Landed another major client. Celebration drinks tonight. I smiled. This is what victory looks like. Not standing on someone's ashes, but standing on your own foundation. I earned these keys. And I'm never giving them back.